Konnichiwa, minasan. O genki desu ka? Welcome to the advanced course of my channel. Let's learn Japanese with Eric. In this lesson, we'll go through the special verbs of some very common Japanese verbs. We use these special verbs to express honorific and humble forms. Yoroshii desu ka? Hajimemashou. Just a quick review. Back in lesson 97, I introduced honorific and humble speech, and that we use this speaking and writing style when addressing a social superior, just as when you're talking to a customer or applying for a job, or generally when you just want to sound very respectful. And in order to speak in honorific and humble styles, we use a combination of 4 strategies. The first one is adding prefixes o or go to nouns that are associated with the listener or the person you're talking about whom you hold in high esteem. And we tackle this in lesson 98. Second is conjugating verbs into their honorific and humble forms, which we studied in the previous lesson, lesson 99. And the fourth is expressing ordinary actions in terms of giving and receiving actions, which we've already tackled in lesson 70. And the third strategy is to use special honorific and humble verbs instead of their neutral forms for about 15 very common Japanese verbs, such as to go, come, eat, drink, to be, say, etc. And we will look at these verbs in this lesson, lesson 100. So let's get started. And these are the verbs that have special honorific and humble versions in Japanese. The verbs to do, to go, and to come, I've grouped them together because their special verbs for both honorific and humble forms are the same. To exist for animate. To exist for inanimate. The verb to be. To look, to ask, to say, to give to me, to receive, to eat, and to drink. And again, they're grouped here because their honorific and humble special verbs are the same. To die, to know, and to wear. In the next slides, let's look at each one in detail and a simple example of each. The verb to do. Neutral is suru. Honorific is nasaru. Nasaru. And the humble form is itasu. Itasu. The number in brackets indicates the verb category, with 3 indicating irregular verb, 2 indicating last hiragana changing verb, and 1 indicating root dropping verb. Nasaru is an irregular verb and conjugates into the formal as nasaimasu. For example, 2 professors of equal rank collaborating on a research. Their respect for each other is evident in their speech. Professor A asks Professor B using honorific style, "Sensei, kenkyū no kekka wa dou nasaimasu ka?" Sensei, kenkyū no kekka wa dou nasaimasu ka? Professor, what will you do about the research results? Professor B replies in humble style, "Kaigi de happyō itashimasu. Kaigi de happyō itashimasu. I will announce the results at a conference." To go. Neutral is iku. And to come. Neutral is kuru. Both have the same honorific and humble forms. For honorific, we have 2 special verbs. The first is irasharu. Irasharu. An irregular verb that conjugates into irashaimasu. Irashaimasu in the formal form. And the second verb is oide ni naru. Oide ni naru. And you'd be conjugating naru into the other tenses and modalities. The humble form of iku and kuru is mairu. Now, how you distinguish whether the meaning is to go or to come depends on the context of the sentence. The secretary at the hospital is following up on the doctors about a party invitation. So the secretary asks one doctor, "Sensei, konba no party ni irashaimasu ka?" "Sensei, konba no party ni irashaimasu ka?" "Doctor, will you go to tonight's party?" Now, doctors in Japan are also addressed as sensei, same as teachers. The doctor replies, mairimasu. Mairimasu. Yes, I will go. The doctor uses humble form to show respect for hospital administration, embodied by the secretary. The secretary could also have used oide ni narimasu, which has the same meaning, to go or come. Sensei, konba no party ni oide ni narimasu ka? Will you come to the party tonight? Mairimasu. Yes, I will come. The verb to exist for animates, like people and animals. Neutral is iru. Honorific is once again irasharu. And oide ni naru. The humble form is oru. Professor A makes a phone call to Professor B and speaks to his secretary. "Sumimasen, Tanaka sensei wa irashaimasu ka?" "Sumimasen, Tanaka sensei wa irashaimasu ka?" Excuse me, is Professor Tanaka in? Secretary replies, "Hai, orimasu. Shoushou omachi kudasai." "Hai, orimasu. Shoushou omachi kudasai." Yes, he is. Please wait a moment. To exist, inanimate, for things and plants, neutral form is aru. The honorific and humble forms are both gozaru. Gozaru is an irregular verb with very few uses, and it conjugates into the formal form as gozaimasu. A shopper asks a sales associate at a department store, "Sumimasen, otearai wa doko ni arimasu ka?" "Sumimasen, otearai wa doko ni arimasu ka?" Excuse me, where's the washroom? And the sales associate replies in humble style, "Nikai ni gozaimasu. Nikai ni gozaimasu." It's on the second floor. The verb to be. Neutral is da. The honorifics are, for people, de irasharu. And for things, de gozaru. The humble form is also de gozaru. A foreign student seeks out a professor very politely, approaches him and asks, "Excuse me, are you Professor Tanaka?" "Sumimasen, Tanaka sensei de irashaimasu ka?" "Sumimasen, Tanaka sensei de irashaimasu ka?" Professor Tanaka replies, "Hai, sou de gozaimasu ga, dochira-sama desu ka?" "Hai, sou de gozaimasu ga, dochira-sama desu ka?" Yes, that's right. And may I ask who you are? Now, although Professor Tanaka has a higher status, he has no idea who the foreign student is. To be safe and err on the side of caution, he replies in humble speech. Now, Japanese people oftentimes use honorific speech with strangers, especially during social gatherings when people have not been introduced yet. To look, neutral is miru. The honorific version is goran ni naru. And the humble version is haiken suru or haiken itasu. For example, a sales employee at a jewelry store entices a customer with, "Kanada-san no daya o goran ni narimasen ka?" "Kanada-san no daya o goran ni narimasen ka?" "Won't you like to see Canadian diamonds?" And the customer replies, "Hai, zehi misete kudasai." "Hai, zehi misete kudasai." Yes, by all means, please show me. The verb to ask or to hear. Neutral is kiku. There is no honorific, while the humble special verb is ukagao. Example, at a conference, someone at the audience would like to ask the speaker one more question during question and answer. And speaking in humble speech, もう一つ伺いたいことがありますが。もう一つ伺いたいことがありますが。There's one more question I'd like to ask. And the speaker goes, はい、どうぞ。はい、どうぞ。Yes, go ahead, please. The verb to say. Neutral is you. Honorific is おっしゃる。おっしゃる. An irregular verb that conjugates into おっしゃいます。おっしゃいます for the formal form. The humble versions are 申す。申す and 申し上げる。申し上げる. A Japanese person and a foreign student meet on a cultural exchange dinner. The Japanese person asks in honorifics, お名前は何とおっしゃいますか? お名前は何とおっしゃいますか? Literally, how do you say your name? In other words, what is your name? And the foreign student replies using humble style, 名前はジョンと申します。名前はジョンと申します。My name is John, or I'm called John. The next three verbs are in giving and receiving, and we've already looked at them closely in lesson 70, on giving and receiving of actions using honorifics. The verb to give, neutral is あげる. Honorific is 差し上げる. 差し上げる. And there is no humble form. The verb to give to me, neutral is くれる. Honorific is くださる. くださる, which is an irregular verb, conjugating into the formal as くださいます. There is no humble form. Example, we have an employee given an envelope full of cash by the company president, and the employee is ecstatic. このお金は私にくださるのですか? このお金は私にくださるのですか? You're giving this money to me? And the company president replies, はい、君のボーナスです。はい、君のボーナスです。Yes, it's your bonus. The verb to receive. Neutral is もらう. There is no honorific, while the humble form is いただく. いただく. Example, we have a sales associate and a customer at a department store, and the sales associate is enticing the customer to join a raffle draw. And he says, お名前をここに書いていただくと、このプレゼントを差し上げます。お名前をここに書いていただくと、このプレゼントを差し上げます。If you write your name here, I'll give you this present. But literally, very polite honorifics. If I receive the action from you that you will write your name here, I will give you this present. And the customer is excited upon seeing the toy and goes, わあ、素敵、いただきたいわ。わあ、素敵、いただきたいわ。Wow, cool, I'd like to receive one. The verb to eat, neutral, 食べる. The verb to drink, neutral, 飲む. They both have the same honorific, 召し上がる, 召し上がる, and the same humble form, いただく, いただく. A foreign exchange student is staying with a Japanese family. At the start of dinner, the host mom says, どうぞ召し上がってください. どうぞ召し上がってください. Go ahead, please eat. And the foreign student politely replies, いただきます. いただきます, which is the greeting before eating in Japan, and it literally means I receive. In other words, I will eat. The verb to die. Neutral is 死ぬ. Honorific is お亡くなりになる or お亡くなりなさる. There is no humble version. Many people died in the 2011 tsunami. 2011年の津波では大勢の方がお亡くなりになりました. 2011年の津波では大勢の方がお亡くなりになりました。The verb to know. Neutral is 知る。The honorific is a noun. ご存じ。ご存じ。And the humble version is 存じる。存じる. A root-dropping verb. Our foreign exchange student John really liked the tempura he had at the cafeteria and is interested to learn how to make it, so he asks his Japanese tutor, 天ぷらの作り方をご存知ですか? 天ぷらの作り方をご存知ですか? Do you know how to make tempura? Luckily, his tutor knows how and says, はい、知っていますよ。教えましょうか? はい、知っていますよ。教えましょうか? Yes, I know. Shall I teach you? To wear. Neutral is 着る. The honorific is お召しになる or お召しなさる. お召しになる お召しなさる. There is no humble version. The Japanese tutor tells foreign exchange student John to please wear this Japanese yukata. John 様、この浴衣をお召しになってください。John 様、この浴衣をお召しになってください。To summarize, in this lesson, we learned the special honorific and humble verbs for some very common actions. To do, honorific, なさる, humble, いたす. The verbs to go and come, honorifics, いらっしゃる and おいでになる. Humble, 参る. To exist, animate, honorifics, いらっしゃる and おいでになる. For humble, おる. To exist, inanimate, ござる for both honorific and humble. The verb to be, honorific is でいらっしゃる for people and でござる for things. The humble is also でござる. To look, honorific, ご覧になる. Humble, 拝見する. To ask, there is no honorific. Humble is 伺う. To say, honorific is おっしゃる. And for humble, 申す and 申し上げる. To give, honorific, 差し上げる. There is no humble form. To give to me, honorific, くださる. There is no humble form. To receive, there is no honorific. Humble is いただく. To eat or drink, honorific, 召し上がる. And humble is いただく. To die, honorific, お亡くなりになる. There is no humble. To know, for honorific, it is a noun, ご存じ. And the humble form is 存じる. And the verb to wear, honorific is お召しになる or お召しなさる. There is no humble version. So that ends our lesson on special honorific and humble verbs. Thanks for watching. お疲れ様でした。次のレッスンにまた会いましょう。If you're serious about becoming fluent in Japanese, it's important to practice daily. Learn grammar and build up vocabulary. My whole course is designed to give you a strong basic foundation in the Japanese language that you can build solidly upon. So please click like, share, or subscribe and watch the next video in the series. 日本語の勉強に頑張ってください。じゃあ、またね。